Jin's Happy is an album that conveys a sincere commitment from Jin to BTS and ARMY to always be there, even in the hardest of times. This album is full of expressions of longing and suffering due to separation, but it's also full of radical love and joyful playfulness. I truly have loved this album. The whole album has more of a rocky sound, which is something that I have been yearning to get from Jin. I know that he loves rock, I know he loves Coldplay. I was excited to hear his solo work during chapter 2 because he was going to be able to explore different genres that would be dear to his heart. And this album has, in my opinion, done so. Hello, this is Frenetica. Girl, I'm sick with the flu. Please excuse the audio. These are hard times we are living in. Not only within the BTS and ARMY universe have we been going through difficult times, but the world all around us seems in chaos. Everything when you go out, when you read the news, we have been inundated by horrible times. And personally, I have been also going through very difficult moments. September, October, and November. It has been a very challenging time. I feel heartbroken sometimes by society, and I wonder how can we allow as a society to be in spaces like this. And so it has been very difficult to show up and show out with friends, with family, because life has been so hard. And this is why I personally love this album so much. As soon as the music video for Running Wild came out, I started sobbing because I felt I was being seen and cared for by Jin. Running Wild is a beautiful, almost like pop rock song. It's nostalgic. I when I hear Running Wild, I go back to a time when I was maybe in middle school to high school, where a lot of like pop rock, punk rock songs were playing. It's a English song. It conveys the sense of urgency and a little bit of despair in which we are going through a hard time. Of course, in army, we are not oblivious to the constant attacks and defamations and relentless hatred that BTS has been enduring while they have been on the military. Him opening the album saying, there's a way that we can fly again. For me, it conveys that sense of feeling, how can I say this? Of feeling out of place, of feeling lost, of feeling like you cannot control anything, and yet being extremely hopeful, trying to find a way to get better, to do better, to fly again like a rising phoenix. He then goes to say, remember how we used to love back then, living like we had no end. This is why I also think that the type of music chosen for this song, it's nostalgic because it does remind me of a time when I was in high school. I am 1994, Jean is 1992. So when we were in high school, we were full of hopeful and yearning and excitement. We hadn't encountered the cruelty that some put out there into the world. Him saying there's a way that we can find a way and we can go back home. This song opens it's almost like a little prayer to oneself. I am not religious, but I believe that sometimes prayers are something hopeful, something good, something we want to create. It is an acknowledgement that they are down, things are hard, things are difficult. And yet, as the older brother to BTS and a companion to ARMY, he's telling us there's a way and we can fly again. We've been better. We've been through this. It's beautiful. The song that was chosen plays on the nostalgia of bringing you back. The music video, I thought it was, as always, Lupins is an amazing director. I think it is pretty fitting that the video is set up in a end of the world situation. Many People have speculated that the dog is ARMY. I mostly thought that the dog was BTS themselves. I thought even of Namjoon because of how ARMY associates him as a great big puppy. But it is a symbolism of companionship. He comes out of an establishment and he looks up, and the dog looks up, and there are meteors. Jin's stoic expression was a little unnerving, but then I understood what that meant. He looked at the dog almost as he was looking at BTS or our army, and he chose to enjoy themselves. Um, it is extremely difficult to go through hardships and still choose to show up for each other. A moment of crisis, enjoying each other. I don't think the video wanted to show willful ignorance to what was going on around him as the world was lighting up, as it was burning down, as meteors were falling on top of the world. It seems like everything is too big for us to resolve. Yet, what Jin proposes is even when everything is falling apart, we can choose to spend the time together, and we can choose to build relationships. And I kept thinking, what is it all for? Why why do we have to go through such difficult times? And I think the answer is the difficult times are there and they will always be there. But why are we here? To create communion, to create relationships, to experience each other in happiness and in sadness and in crisis, because those are the ties that make a life. I think that's the premise of the album, that we are able to construct our happiness even in the darkest and direst of situations. I'll Be There is such a fun track. It's also a rock pop song. It brings me back even further than like 2006, 2007. I would even say like 2000, even a little bit 1999. It's a fun song. The music video was also extremely fun. I love how cheeky Jin is in saying, I wanted to show my face. Bestie, please keep showing your face all the time. After the premise of the first song, in which we are set up in a world that everything is falling apart. And here in I'll Be There, he's saying, we can fly, even if we go our separate ways, he will be there. I felt that again, this was a song in response to BTS first and then Army. I thought it was a play or a riff on the Friends theme song. I don't know the name of the song, by the way, and I thought it was really fitting because of how much RM has expressed that he likes and loves that show. And at the core of that show is, I don't know how many friends, like 7 friends, going through the motions of life and the difficulties and trials and tribulations, and still showing up for each other. Like I think BTS has shown up for each other and for ARMY. I also felt very seen by this song because I have expressed in my album review of Right Place, Wrong Person how sometimes in the working world, Another Level might be one of my favorite songs on the album. It starts very slow, very cinematic. I felt personally transported to like a space opera film in which we're out in outer space and we're about to begin a battle. It holds a lot of tension, and yet it continues this hopeful optimism that Jin is presenting in the album. How courageous of Jin to say this to us, to himself, to BTS, and leading us saying, I will keep fighting this day. And the song itself, it conveys this sense of urgency of fighting. Again, I felt like I was in an space opera and we were about to fight the big bad. Jin came out to tell us, I know you're scared and you feel like you're trapped in a hamster wheel and we're down really bad, but please stay. Not only that, but I will fight first. I will keep fighting for you. And please never stop. Jin here is saying, we have to get up the hill. I'll be there for you as well. And not only that, I will fight first for you. Don't feel scared because we will find the light again. This is a beautiful song. And this is what I mean that is full of radical love because it's radical to love your brothers and army in this way, in the hard times. It's radical to not be a cynic when everything is fighting against you and when the world feels bleak and where you feel trapped in a hamster wheel. It's radical to say, I'll fight for you. Don't be scared. We'll bounce back. It is a commitment to each other, to be there for each other. It is radical to leave behind the individual in order to fight for a communal experience. And this is such a beautiful song. I don't know what else to say. It is a commitment of love and care. Falling. In the same vein of another level, I feel this song represents another stage of a fight. We're in the middle of it. We're fighting and it's difficult to fight. And yet it is an expression of Jin of saying, I want you. This is who I love. This is my affirmation of why I am fighting. The song in itself, the sound of the song was also rock. It was much more modern. I felt when I say modern, I don't think I'm saying that the others are sound outdated, not at all. I think they're perfect. This is just less of a nostalgic moment as maybe I'll be there or running wild. Those first two songs were very nostalgic and their sound was nostalgic as well. It reminded me of 2005, 2006, even 2000, 1999. Another level was an operatic sound, but this sounds a lot more modern in its building. I thought of maybe some recent Japanese rock songs. I like that Jin experimented with different flavors of rock. Each song, the sound of the song, get linked together beautifully. The meaning of the lyrics. Falling does the same. I feel like the battle has started and we're separated and still we're fighting to get to each other. He says it's not easy. The temperature difference between your coldness and my passion, even if I reach out, I can touch you. It is very difficult to have a separation and to feel like you cannot tell the other person that you are still there. You are still mine. You still have this meaning. And we started this fight together, and I want to end this fight together. It is difficult, and many will give up in the middle of the battle because the battle will be hard. Yet, again, Jean is reaffirming my feeling still remains the same. I want to meet you. I want to see you. It is again a radical reinstatement of his feelings that he wants to be with us, that he wants to be with Army, he wants to be with BTS. There is a longing in the middle of everything that is going so chaotic, that is difficult, that forces that are larger than any individual forcing us to be separated. And yet, like gravity, we have a force that is linking us together, even if everything around us is pulling us apart. Hard on the Window. What a beautiful song. Miss Wendy. What a beautiful voice. Honestly, I hadn't heard of Wendy. I mean, I know that she's part of Red Velvet. Her addition to the song was just beautiful. She has a beautiful voice that vibes or jives very well with Jin. I love my ballad king, Jin. Jin has his voice is very emotive. He has a very emotive voice. His tone, his velvety, like chesty voice with these high highs and comforting lows is so beautiful. And again, in this song, we're confronted with a separation. I think of the metaphor of a person is outside the window and the other person is inside the window, and we're looking through the glass. And a window might be transparent, but it can also be reflective. It can function as a mirror. It could not be faithful to what we're looking at. It is a separation, a divide, a physical representation of being apart. And when they said, when I left you a heart on the window, I engrave it even more deeply. How beautiful to show someone that you love them even when you're not there. The song lets us imagine a window in the cold, and that's why it gets foggy and you could draw a heart when it's cold, when it's frigid, when it's hostile, when you're separated. You still find a way to show your love, manifest your love. The imagery of engraving a heart deeply, almost as if feeling remorseful that you're not there and you want to be there and show that you love them. It's beautiful, it's heartbreaking. Separation is hard. And looking through a window, being far apart, not being able to convey your emotions at the moment. When a fight is going on, when a battle is it's on its way, when the world is frigid, it's cold, it's hostile. It is radical to show love in that way. I will come to you. This is, I believe, is a song where Jin mentioned is was mainly written by him and conveyed his emotions while he was away. And just the way the song starts, the day that the white snow fell and the day that I left you hundreds of times. Those words that I said every day, I miss you so much, hold me, lost in the beautiful memories. It's truly it's heartbreaking because I think this is the song that most transparently talks about the separation that Jin had to go through from BTS first and then from ARMY. And it was symbolically the white frigid cold and feeling like you're missing someone and you cannot be there must be very hard. But also remembering memories, being nostalgic, looking at pictures, looking at memories. In other words, having this repository of memories of happy times to get you through the hard times, like a ray of light in a cold, dark environment, is invaluable. And he ends it saying, even if I'm away for a moment because of longing, I promise I will come to you. If you need me, I will come to you. Again, it's a reaffirmation of being there, of saying, I am here for you whenever you need me, even if we're far away, even if we're facing a battle, even if the world is ending. I'm here for you. I want you. I miss you. You are my ray of light in the darkest of times. Such a beautiful album. And don't you feel it's a little bit ironic that it's called Happy when all of these songs are full of longing and hardship, battling things that are larger than you? When you're feeling trapped in a hamster wheel, it's like the system is larger than you. When you are separated by a window, and you cannot be together and show each other physically that we love each other, that we want to be there for you. When the world seems like it's dead set in attacking you and you just want to be there for each other. It is a heartbreaking album, and yet I do feel it is a happy album because what happiness can be is not the possibility of having everything go our way, even if the world seems in a constant state of chaos and war, we can find happiness with each other. That's why I feel so grateful to have listened to this album. It came at a time in my life when I needed it the most because I was truly feeling desperation and hopelessness beyond belief. And this was a happy reminder that there are people out there who don't know me and yet know that I and you and all of Army and everyone else is going through a difficult time. They're making a commitment to be there for each other and create the happiness that we need in such bleak moments. We are at the mercy of a force that's bigger than us. The way to find happiness or contentment is through music or art. It's through creation. And I feel very grateful that in times as hard as this and in times as difficult for me personally that I've been going through, I am able to experience the art of seven men who I don't know and they don't know me, but we feel connected in this relationship of committing to each other, of creating beautiful memories, and of finding a happy moment in the darkest of times. Anyways, this has been my album review. My last video was part 3 of my Scorn Women in Latin Music. You can also check out my review of Right Place, Wrong Person. And yeah, until next time, be excellent to one another.